Yarny.
Hello, welcome to another Yarny video. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to make a nice reusable Swiffer pad. All you need to know in order to make the Swiffer pad is the slip knot, the chain, and the half double crochet. It's super easy, and the stitches are pretty repetitive, so you can make it while watching TV, for example. Now, if you're unfamiliar with any of these stitches, we will go through them slowly in this video, but we also have very detailed and slow tutorials on our channel. I'll link these videos down below. In terms of material, you'll need a crochet hook. I'm using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. In terms of yarn, I'm using a red heart in this color ube. It's a number 4 medium weight acrylic yarn. You'll need a yarn needle to sew in the ends, and some scissors to cut your yarn. All right, let's get started. Now, before we start to actually crochet the Swiffer pad, I simply want to talk about the actual Swiffer. So we know the base of the Swiffer where we attach our Swiffer pads to is a rectangle shape. And so the length of the Swiffer I have, which is the purple one, is about 26.5 centimeters or 10.5 inches. The height is about 11.5 centimeters or about 4.5 inches. Now, if you have a different Swiffer, maybe the green one, I'm not too sure if it's the same size, so just make sure you measure it. Now, our whole goal is to crochet the rectangle or the pad a little bigger than the actual Swiffer so we can cover it, right? So mine here is about 38 centimeters in length. So my ruler here doesn't really cover the entire length, but trust me, it's about 38 centimeters in length, which is about 14.5 inches. And then the height is about 13 centimeters or about 5 inches. And once we're done with the rectangle, the whole goal is to simply fold the ends like this to sew in the ends so that we can attach it to our Swiffer. I fold about 5 centimeters on each side, which is about 2 inches. So the starting point of the Swiffer pad is to do a slip knot and chains. For the slip knot, it's very easy. We'll simply wrap the tail end of our yarn around our index finger like this, bringing the tail end on top of the working yarn. And the working yarn is the side that's attached to your ball of yarn. You will take your working yarn, wrap it around your finger. Now we have 2 loops on our finger. Take the back loop, bring it forward, and you have your slip knot. You take your crochet hook, insert it in the slip knot, tighten the slip knot, and we're basically ready to start chaining. Now, for the amount of chains, it will really depend on the side of your Swiffer. So you definitely want to chain as long as the side of your Swiffer, the length of your Swiffer pad, but also add about 10 to 12 centimeters so that it can be longer than the Swiffer pad because we want to fold the sides, remember? So measure your Swiffer pad, the length of it, then add 10 to 12 centimeters, which is about 4 to 5 inches. And then once you've reached that amount of chains, simply add 2 chains as well. So for me, in order to reach the length of my Swiffer pad and then adding about 10 to 12 centimeters, I reached 60 chains in total, and then I added 2 chains. So then in total, I did 62 chains. So to do my 62 chains, I will go ahead and wrap the yarn around your hook, pull it through the loop here, and you have 1 chain. So we're simply going to keep going until I reach 62. So 2, so after we've completed the 62 chains and we have the length of our Swiffer pad here, all we want to do is add rows until we reach the desired height of that rectangle Swiffer pad. So in each row, it's very simple. We're going to do half double crochet for every stitch in every rows. Now the first half double crochet that we're going to do on the chain foundation will be in the 3rd chain from the hook. Now the loop on the hook, we never count it as a chain. So we're starting with our first chain here, second here, and third. So this third chain here is where we're inserting our first half double crochet. So the half double crochet, we're simply wrapping the yarn around our hook here, and we insert the hook into the middle of the chain, and then wrap the yarn around your hook to pull it back through the chain we just went through, and we will see 3 loops on our hook. Now wrap the yarn around our hook to pull it through all 3 loops, and this is how we do the half double crochet. So we're simply keep going, adding half double crochet in each and every chain for the entire row. So after we've completed the half double crochet for the first row, all we want to do is add additional rows so we reach the height of our Swiffer pad. So for me, I wanted to do 13 centimeters in height, which is about 5 inches. So I simply added more rows of half double crochet until I reached that height. Now, in order to add rows, we will do 2 turning chains in between each row. So 1 chain, 2 chain, and then you will turn your project around in order to start doing half double crochet on the entire row again. Now the 2 chains that we do does not count as a stitch, so your first half double crochet will always be at the very base of your 2 turning chains. So right here is always your first half double crochet of your new row. So we're simply going to add half double crochet and add rows until we reach about 13 centimeters or 5 inches. So I'm basically at my last half double crochet of my Swiffer pad here, and I did in total 17 rows to reach the height of the 13 centimeters or 5 inches. Once you've completed your last stitch, just do one more chain like this, and then we will cut our yarn. So the last chain that we did here will simply secure our stitch. And you definitely want to cut a pretty long tail because that's what we're going to be using to sew in the 2 foldable pieces on each end. So go ahead and cut a long tail of yarn. Once you've cut your yarn, just pull onto the yarn like this. And yes, I did cut a very, very long tail, as you can see. And like this, we have our pad here secured. And the pad using the half double crochet is pretty nice because since the stitches are going horizontally like this, and there you can see a slight ribs in between each rows, these will trap the dirt pretty well. Now, after you've cut your yarn, go ahead and fold your piece. We can start with one side at first, and like I mentioned, I fold about 5 centimeters. Now you can definitely fold more, but if you wanted to fold more, you had to start with a longer chain for a longer length. So let me just, so this is about 5 centimeters. And now I will simply insert my yarn here in a yarn needle so I can start sewing in the ends. So now that I have my yarn needle with my yarn in it, I'll simply go on top of each stitch back and forth, just sewing the 2 ends together. This from one side to the other. So after weaving in this first end here, I'll just bring my yarn needle in between stitches on the top end here so that I bring the yarn on the bottom so I can sew the bottom piece. So with my yarn on the other end now, I'll simply go ahead and use the top stitches and sew each side together again. So after sewing this end here, I'll use my yarn needle, put the yarn needle on top of these stitches all the way to this side so I can fold this piece and start sewing this side here. Once my yarn has reached this side here, I'll simply go ahead and sew in the top of the stitches, just like I did on the other side. So once this side is done, just like the other side, I'll work my yarn through the bottom here so I can sew in the bottom, which is the last piece. So I'm reaching the bottom here, and again I will simply sew in the top of both sides. Once you're done, just do a knot on the last stitch like this, going in the loop to secure your stitches, and feel free to do more than one knot just to be extra sure. Once you've done with your knots, you can weave back in the yarn on these sides here, and then simply just cut the yarn. And just as easy, you've completed a nice reusable Swiffer pad. So you can reuse it, wash it, and save the environment. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content. See you soon.